Man, hey, tonight you can cement your legacy, man. All season long, we ain't lost no home games. Cement your legacy tonight, man. We've been talking about our legacy all season long. We got to commit to our legacy, but tonight, we can put it in cement. We can put it in stone. Tonight is the night. It's homecoming. You got all these alumni coming back to see you because they heard tell how good this team is. You understand?
Yes, sir.
One of the best teams to come through this school. Act like it, play like it tonight. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Hard all 4 quarters from bell to bell, whistle to whistle. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Don't let up. All gas, no brakes. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Commit to your legacy tonight. Let's go.
Yes, sir. One break.
Who's out?
Our house.
Who's out?
Our house.
I'm talking about. It's game day. It's game day. It's game day. What's the name?
Game day. Let's have a week. Ready to get better. Ready to get long. Dominate.
I guess we should just go ahead and dive into this week's game of the week. Hunter Huss and Kramer. Hunter Huss is looking to at least earn a share of the Big South 3A title, but stakes may be even higher for Stuart Kramer going into this one.
Interesting. I went to the game last year at Huss. Stuart Kramer wins 21-14 in overtime. Probably an argument can be made it's the signature win in Stuart Kramer program history because Huss last year, at the time they beat him, was the defending Big South Conference champions. They ended up being tied for second. But, you know, certainly a big win for Stuart Kramer at the time last year. They'll be looking to repeat history. Huss appears to be better than a year ago, but certainly Stuart Kramer can come into this game with the confidence of having won that game last year.
Yeah, and Huss appears to be rolling. Jaheim Mullen with 7 interceptions. You have Prince Bima with 100+ tackles. Tony Davis broke out for a big game last week on homecoming and a big night for him committing to Duke. 3 touchdown receptions. How do you think that Stuart Kramer can put together a full effort on both sides of the ball to beat them?
Well, to win last year, they kind of managed the game. They kept the score low. They played really good defense. Be interesting to see if they can do that again. But, you know, the script would seem to be winning kind of 21-14, maybe 17-14. I know Devin Baldwin's a weapon as a kicker. It'll be fascinating. We've got a story running in Thursday's Gazette. Huss has a new weapon potentially. Yeah. Jamal Littlejohn. Most people associate all the Littlejohns with Lincolnton. That's what I write in the story. Yeah. He was kicked off the team about a month ago and is now at Hunter Huss. They lined up a defensive end, made 3 tackles last week, had a touchdown run against Forest View in his first game at Hunter Huss. Will be interesting to see what, if anything, they highlight with him, or if they just kind of add him to their already talented arsenal of players and talent on that team. Obviously, Stuart Kramer, like I said, has the confidence of winning last year. Tyrese Morris, Luke Carpenter, Kendall Carr, as good a running back, quarterback, receiver combination as is in the area. They'll be at home. You know, what, if anything, can be gleaned from that home game? Huss had won the first 3 matchups between these 2 schools until last year's historic win for Stuart Kramer. I mean, an interesting game. Huss shooting to go 10-0 for the first time since 1976. In addition to, as you put it, clinching the Big South #1 seed.
Certainly. And another big game is right down the road in Mount Holly. In that corner pocket of Mount Holly, you have Mountain Island Charter taking on Thomas Jefferson Classical. Thomas Jefferson's pretty much in the same position as Huss, looking to at least gain a share of their conference title in Southern Piedmont 1A.
Yeah, Mountain Island Charter only lost to Bessemer City at home. Kind of an interesting mistake-filled game for the Raptors. Will be fascinating to see. Thomas Jefferson has really played well. Nomi McMullins is one of the best players you'll see, regardless of classification, has been fantastic. Each and every game this year, you know, they manhandled Bessemer City the other week. You know, obviously, Bessemer City, we talked about how they needed to probably keep the score low. Thomas Jefferson got the score way up there and really made it tough on Bessemer City's offense. Bessemer City has to kind of play a defensive-oriented game the way they're set up. Will be an interesting game to see over there in that corner of Mount Holly, off Mount Holly Huntersville Road, how this plays out, because it will, you know, determine the Southern Piedmont champion. If Thomas Jefferson wins, they'll have wrapped it up, and if Mountain Island Charter wins, you get potential for a 3-way tie.
Right. Bessemer City is going to keep an eye on that one, but they also have to take care of their own business. They have Community School of Davidson, another team that can put up points in bunches, and is really going to challenge that the back end of that Bessemer City defensive backfield. Talking about getting interesting, Southwestern 2A.
Yes.
The round robin kind of comes full circle these next 2 weeks. East Rutherford and Shelby clash this week, and for the Golden Lions, they can actually eliminate East Rutherford from conference title contention, but it doesn't eliminate them.
No.
Because regardless of what happens this week, they can at least try to get a share next week against South Point.
Yeah, it's interesting. The winner of this game puts itself in a position to clinch to be a part of a championship team. I say that. Shelby's the only one that truly holds its own destiny, I guess, and South Point does as well. Yeah. East Rutherford has to win. They've got no margin of error. They have to win and have to get some help from Shelby the following week. Hard to see Chase knocking off South Point this week. But, you know, it's a fascinating race, and it's really kind of coming down to what we thought. South Point came from behind to beat East Rutherford a couple of weeks ago. Now Shelby gets their crack at East Rutherford. East Rutherford at home again.
Yeah.
You know, I think most of us would favor Shelby to win this game, but East Rutherford's been a really talented team, and it's interesting to see. The irony of this for East Rutherford is the last time they beat Shelby was 2005 in what was then, I believe, the Midwest Two-Way Conference finale. Shelby plays them again in the playoffs and knocks them out. So East Rutherford really didn't get a chance to enjoy that win as much. It'll be interesting to see how East Rutherford manages this and how Shelby manages it, because clearly Shelby's schedule comes down to these two games.
Right. Shelby's really got their passing attack rolling under Isaiah Best. He's thrown for 200 plus and several touchdowns
Several
each of the
receivers.
past few weeks. The question is whether East Rutherford will make them have to become more two-dimensional, make them have to run the ball, which is definitely not Shelby's strength. North Lincoln, their season also comes down to a two-game slate, although it's more so next week than this one. They take on Lincolnton, but of course next week is Bandits.
Well, it's hard to underestimate. You know, North Lincoln grew out of Lincolnton way back when. They've only beaten Lincolnton twice, but boy, the Knights have defied logic, common sense, the critics. They just keep winning, and if they keep winning this game, and the good news for them is, even if they were to lose, it still comes down to that Bandy's game. But certainly if you're North Lincoln, you're licking your chops at a chance to beat what appears to be a wounded Lincoln Wolves team.
Certainly. Then have several other games of interest this week. Ashbrook at North Gaston, which is comes pretty much to a must-win for Ashbrook. North Gaston's playoff hopes are pretty much
the battle of the two wounded teams.
Right. Burns at Crest. Burns still putting up yards and bunches, but it's not necessarily equating to wins. That'll be a lot tougher this week against a stout Crest defense.
You would think, but again, Pryor hit 3 big long plays against Kings Mountain, and that was the only points they got. So Kings Mountain probably feels like they played pretty good minus 3 plays, but I think that was almost 180 yards in rushing just in the scoring plays.
Yeah. Cherville tries to keep its playoff hopes alive against Pine Lake Prep. That's a big one in Southern Piedmont 1A.
Yeah, Cherville feels like they've got a chance to. They rarely win 5 games a year. They've got a chance to win 6 this weekend, and next week they go to play at home against their rival Bessemer City. So Cherville has really been playing well. Jaden Blanton, Cruff Florine, and Dylan Harden are a really good running back, receiver, quarterback combo. They were impressive in beating Highland Tech last week, who gave them all they could take and before falling on Highland Tech's homecoming game.
Right. Clover tries to get on the board in Region 4, 5A in South Carolina.
Could be a case of too little, too late.
Exactly.
But still want to go out with a high note, with a win.
Right, and this is definitely one of those that they can win against a struggling Fort Mill team.
Yes.
RS Central at East Gaston, 2 teams that are also struggling. If there's one for East, again, sort of like Clover, if there's one that East Gaston can maybe manage, this is one of those.
So RS won 28-22 at RS last year. You would expect a similarly closely competitive game this year.
Right. West Lincoln coming off that loss to Bandy's last week. They get East Lincoln. I would have to say that's a big game for both.
Yeah.
Both of playoff positioning most important.
Sure, and West Lincoln's not beaten East Lincoln since 2004, a rivalry that dates to West Lincoln's first year in 1962 when it was old Rock Springs High in Denver. Yeah. You know, West Lincoln's had a great year and kind of knocked them out of the playoff of the championship run, but certainly a good year notwithstanding for the Rebels, and kind of an unexpected year in a year in which the South Fork 2A has kind of been turned on its head. You know West Lincoln and East Lincoln, it's almost always a competitive game. You know, West Lincoln's much like the North Lincoln situation with Lincoln. They're really looking forward to a chance to beat East Lincoln because they haven't done it very often.
Yeah. Kings Mountain tries to keep pace in Big South 3A play. They take on Forest View, which is trying to keep slim playoff hopes alive to make it 11 straight years of making the postseason.
Be tough for Forest View. Kings Mountain has been incredibly explosive offensively. that Kalen Wade passing game is something else.
Certainly.
60 points 2 weeks in a row.
I guess that's the way to get over a Huss beatdown.
Yeah, and Forest View has scored a lot, but it'll be hard for me. It's hard to imagine seeing them be able to keep up with Kings Mountain.
Certainly. Highland Tech at Union Academy in Southern Piedmont 1A. Highland Tech trying to go out with a bang.
Looks like an opportunity here, but they put a lot of emotion in that Cherville game last week. It'll be interesting to see how they can get back up off the proverbial mat and bounce back when it usually could be a letdown after losing them homecoming.
And we have Chase at South Point, which for South Point is just basically is win, and you have a share of the Southwestern 2A title.
This rivalry started in 1959. South Point has certainly dominated. Chase has not won since 1986. I don't see that changing this week.
Exactly. And of course, with Hurricane Florence and the season being pushed back, it's going to create kind of a weird set of circumstances for teams here in the local area.
Everybody will get a bye, and it's possible for 2 byes for teams in that 1A conference, because remember the 1A and the 4A brackets get, I think there's 8 byes in each side of the brackets, and certainly Mountain Island Charter, Thomas Jefferson, Bessemer City would be in that mix based on how that league shakes out.
Right. And of course, we'll keep you updated on exactly how this schedule is going to turn out. I guess it's rather fluid as the days kind of get closer. But any final thoughts?
Yeah, just keep checking GastonGazette.com, because we've been updating all day long today on Tuesday as games have been moved up from Friday to Thursday, and keep voting for Player of the Week for Week 11. Your votes have been greatly enhancing our coverage this year. We enjoy your feedback, and keep voting.
All right. You have a good week, and hopefully stay dry with this weather that is coming, and stay warm. You have a good one.